Record, Sean.
We're recording and
Good. And we're right. I don't know what the time will factor do now.
okay, don't stress about that. Right, let me go back a little bit.
Yeah, we hadn't got there yet.
Okay. All right. So as I was talking about the infections.
There.
Okay, right. So consider the possibility of the Helicobacter pylori infection, which, as I said, is stress related. So it could be one of those factors over there. Now, as I was saying before I got rudely interrupted, the rough elbows, and that skin that is rough like sandpaper, not caused by leaning on your elbows the whole time, but caused by other issues. And one of the things is maybe a sign of deficiencies of essential fatty acids and vitamins A and B complex. And this involves drying and flaking of the skin, mostly evident on the elbows and knees, and these are indications of the deficiencies that I've just mentioned. Lack of these nutrients can cause cells to dehydrate, and cells are made up of a whole lot of water. If there's no water, well, you end up with a drought, and therefore you end up with just like a dam that is dried up. When you see the mud that cracks and flakes, our skin does pretty much the same thing. Supplementation should continue for 6 to 8 weeks once you start a supplement regimen and be accompanied by a quality vitamin E supplement. And we'll get onto those supplements in a minute, but obviously your essential fatty acids and vitamins A and D and the B complex are your important ones here. Dr. Abram Hoffer emphasized that several nutrients are essential for normal function of essential fatty acids. Therefore, that means that your essential fatty acids are not just going to operate on their own. They need other nutrients as well. And these include zinc, calcium, magnesium, biotin, and your vitamins B3, B6, and vitamin C. Any of these nutrients can potentially affect the appearance of the skin. And I think that should actually read any of the lack of these nutrients can potentially affect the appearance of the skin. Niacin, otherwise known as vitamin B3 deficiency, is your cause of pellagra, and pellagra in Italian means rough skin. And this can cause skin cells to peel off the elbow, resulting in redness. So you'll see your skin goes all dry and flaky, and it peels off sort of like a bad sunburn, and you end up with very red, tender elbows and knees. Less severe B3 deficiency may be characterized by callousing and rough skin. And last week, we spoke about the calluses on the feet specifically, and that's due to diabetes, amongst other things. So the suggestions: avoid alcohol and refined carbohydrates, because these are things that deplete our body of vitamin B. Drink plenty of water. Makes sense, because if your cells are drying out because of dehydration, means they're not getting sufficient fluid. We need to replenish that fluid. We need to supplement with essential fatty acids and vitamins A and B complex. Essential fatty acids include your salmon oil. And then we have, in this country, we've got vitamins A and D. In the States, they have just a plain vitamin A, and they also have just a plain vitamin D. And in this, over here, we have the A and D. Overseas, that would be marketed as cod liver oil. Sorry. And then obviously we've got the vitamin B, and we have all of the vitamin Bs in that B complex. Skin tags, and these are little folds of skin often found on the neck and shoulder, and sometimes under the arms over here. And you'll quite often find people going to their dermatologist or their GP saying, I've got these little skin tags over here. Please, can you cut them off or burn them off? And this is the sort of thing that they look like. Did you know that they're not something that you can just cut off? This body sign has often been associated with an increased risk of diabetes and blood sugar disorders. That was something new to me. Dr. Jack Margolis of the Veterans Hospital in Texas found that 72% of patients he examined with skin tags were diabetic. That's quite a heavy amount of people. Dr. William Philpott found that food allergy can cause high blood sugar, which in turn can cause diabetes and skin tags. Digestive support will often prevent allergy-caused rises in blood sugar. So this is where it's very important to make sure that your digestive system is working properly. Vitamin C is of particular importance to a diabetic because it helps with blood supply. This is another condition, and I personally know of 2 people who have got this. They've both been patients of mine. One, unfortunately, has since passed away. She was very young. And one of the complications of this condition called scleroderma meant that she developed gangrene in her one foot, which led to an amputation, and through a whole vicious cycle of problems because her immune system was compromised. Because of the scleroderma and the treatment thereof, she eventually died as a result, probably indirectly, of the scleroderma. And it's a nasty thing because it's caused by an increasing accumulation of collagen, and the whole body becomes thick, and the fingers and the toes are very inflexible, and you can't really move. And it's when they bend their fingers, the skin can literally crack open. And that obviously then opens the body to infections. Scleroderma is believed to result from chronic immune activation. So it is an autoimmune disease. Exposure to environmental pollutants that cause immune activation appear to be a potential cause for scleroderma. The one person that I am aware of works in an industrial area. He's a young man who is still trying to work despite the condition and all the challenges that go with it, and he's doing very well. But when I was going through this, it occurred to me that this could possibly be what is exaggerating and exacerbating his condition. The other lady that I mentioned, I honestly don't know what caused the problem, but her husband is a dental technologist who would be working with all sorts of metals and waxes and that sort of thing. And if she spent any time in the lab, that could have exposed her to certain environmental pollutants that could have caused a problem. This is all hypothesis on my side, so don't take my word that these are what caused the problems. A nutrient called PABA, or para-aminobenzoic acid, has been showing promise in the treatment of fibrotic disorders. And that technically is what scleroderma is. It's where your skin becomes very fibrous and inflexible, basically. Vitamin E, taken in an amount of 800 to 1200 IU. Our vitamin E has 200 IU per capsule, so do the maths. Has been shown to be beneficial for scleroderma by improving oxygenation of tissue. Again, Dr. Don Lawson was a big fan of vitamin E because he maintains vitamin E saved his life after his bout of polio. And that's what got him up and moving again, was vitamin E. The amino acids tyrosine and phenylalanine are involved in collagen formation, and restricting them sometimes results in improvement of lupus and scleroderma. Lupus is something we'll go into as well, but lupus is also an autoimmune disease, another nasty. Research suggests that fat metabolism disorders are involved with scleroderma. And that means that the body is not metabolizing fats the way it should do. Fat, not just that nasty stuff that comes with pork chops and lamb chops, but fats are essential in the body because fat is our energy. Vitamin C and zinc supplements, together with avoiding red meat and eggs, because that is where you'll find a lot of the zinc, may restore proper metabolism of essential fats. So the suggestions: avoid intake of extra phenylalanine, that you'll find in things like NutraSweet, which is your artificial sweeteners, and tyrosine. Tyrosine is found in quite a few different foods, and it's one of the amino acids, which incidentally you'll also find in the Neolife Shake and NutriShake. It is suggested that you make a trial of vitamins E, C, and zinc. Obviously, there is no set rule for everybody, and one size does not fit everyone. So one's got to do a little bit of experimentation. And this essentially is what your doctor does when you go and visit him. Because if you've got an out of the ordinary condition and he has to try and diagnose what it is, it's often the way that they do it is by working out what the problem isn't, so that they can work out what the problem is. And there we go, our vitamin E. As you know, our vitamin E has all 8 of the vitamin E's, not just one alpha-tocopherol. Vitamin C is the other important one. And again, ours is because it's water soluble, ours is sustained release. So it stays in your system for much longer. And then the zinc is chelated, once again, for better absorption. Any mineral that is chelated has upwards of an 80% absorption over a non-chelated mineral. And then we need to supplement with essential fatty acids. And this includes salmon oil, and threonine is actually an essential fatty acid. And this one, the Patoba, is something that your doctor will need to prescribe for you. And quite honestly, I don't know if it's available in this country. If it is, it's possibly available under a different brand name. But this is a prescription form of your PABA, and it needs to be done and administered under the guidance of your doctor. Right, looks like we're running out of time over here. Underarm temperature test. And this is where we've got to use the old-fashioned thermometer, not the one that we use against our head these days. So you take your temperature under your arm upon waking and just before getting out of bed. You leave the thermometer in position for 10 minutes. Is a good excuse to sleep in for what? The normal temperature is around 36.5 to 36.7 degrees. Temperature below 36.5 can indicate hypothyroidism, which is low, and above 36.7 indicates hyperthyroidism, which is a high thyroid. Infections can also cause a spike in temperature. So once again, this is just one of the symptoms. Dr. Broder Barnes found that undiagnosed abnormal thyroid function is a contributor to many health conditions. Again, makes me wonder if our current virus isn't one of these things that is being affected. Hypothyroidism, which is low thyroid function, has some symptoms that include fatigue, migraines, emotional and behavioral problems, susceptibility to infectious diseases, skin problems, menstrual disorders, high blood pressure, heart attacks, arthritis, diabetes, hypoglycemia, which is low blood sugar, obesity, and autoimmune diseases. Low thyroid increases blood pressure because of the circulatory damage resulting from a depressed thyroid function. So your thyroid is quite an important little thing that can cause all sorts of problems. Additional indications of low thyroid include a hoarse or gravelly voice, sort of like me right now, but that's just talking too much. Depression, low BP, swollen eyelids and face, water retention, thinning or loss of the outer third of the eyebrow, a lump in the throat, or difficulty in swallowing, slowed mental or physical functioning. Excessive fluoride ingestion may suppress thyroid function, particularly if iodine intake is minimal. This comes back to the toothpaste story that we were talking about a couple of sessions ago. Suggestions: avoid excess fluoride ingestion. Check your toothpaste and your water supply. Obtain adequate iodine, zinc, copper, selenium, and manganese, as these are all essential for thyroid function, as you'll find in your multi-mineral. There it is. And then supplement with essential fatty acids, including omega-3. So our essential fatty acids include our whole grains, which is technically omega-6, and then the omega-3, which has all 8 of the omega-3s in it. Vitiligo is a loss of natural skin pigment, and this immediately struck my mind because I know 2 ladies from church who have got this problem, and their skin, one of them looks very similar to this, one of them looks a little bit worse, in fact. Vitiligo is associated with deficiencies of stomach acid, vitamin C, B12, and folic acid. In a research project involving 15 patients, 11 had low blood folic acid levels, B12 was low in 5, and vitamin C was low in 4. 8 patients received folic acid and C twice per day. B12 injections were given every 2 weeks. All 8 patients improved over 2 years, and improvement was already seen after 3 months. And I've already suggested this to the one lady. And now I've got 5 minutes left. Folic acid alone appears to be effective, but in combination with the other nutrients, the process was sped up. So folic acid could work, but if you combine it with the other bits and pieces, you will end up with a better result and a quicker one. Folic acid can mask a deficiency in B12, folic acid being one of the vitamin Bs. Folic acid is found in fresh green foods and liver and is unstable in heat and light. Hydrochloric acid deficiency is possible in those with vitiligo, as it is necessary for absorption of B12. So the suggestion, regular intake of folic acid, vitamin C, and vitamin B12. So in other words, your vitamin B complex and your vitamin C. And these are some of the foods that you'll find folic acid in. And obviously there's your vitamin C and the vitamin B complex if you're not getting enough of the food. Older people are often deficient in stomach acid production, as I mentioned earlier. And that ends my story tonight. So my apologies for the interruption. I hope that didn't disrupt proceedings too much. But we will get the recordings out to you shortly. Anybody got any questions?
Sure, well done. Thank you very much, Sean.
Thank you, Sean.
Talk too fast. Please just repeat.
Watch the recording. Then you can slow it down.
Oh, good.
Sean?
Yes.
May I just mention something?
Please do.
Regarding autoimmune diseases, we must just remember that the carotenoid complex is believed to bring the immune system in balance. Dr. Don Lawson confirms it. And I have 3 testimonies. I'm not going to, of course, mention them now in my team of people that I did. One was lupus, one was fibromyalgia. They're not sure if it's autoimmune, but it helped this person. Oh, the other one was Graves' disease. And the people who use this, they use the other vitamins, other supplements as well. But they also put it down to that. But Dr. Don Lawson also had a testimony of a lady who had, I think it was multiple sclerosis. I mean, there are many, many autoimmune diseases.
Yes.
So I thought I must just mention it. It plays a very important role. People will say,
Correct.
oh yeah, my immune system is overactive, I can't take it. But it actually has the effect of balancing the immune system.
Correct.
So I thought I'll just mention that quickly.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, because obviously your carotenoids is your immune booster. And if you can boost your immune system, then it can get itself back into balance again. And as I've mentioned before, with the immune system, if you think about a light switch, you turn it on, light comes on. You turn it off, light goes off, hopefully. If there's a short circuit over there, sometimes that light switch, you can turn it on and off, but the light stays on. And this essentially is what our immune system does. So if there's an allergen or a problem that comes into the system, your immune system kicks in. And as soon as the allergen is gone and the body is able to work with it again, the immune system shuts down. Now, what happens in an autoimmune condition is your immune system kicks in and it just doesn't turn off. And that's where the problem is. So now your body fights itself because of the short circuit, it seems to think that its own tissue is the enemy, and it's fighting itself.
Yeah, yeah. You've got such a clever way always to explain these things. I understand it, but it's difficult to find the words to explain it. That was a very good explanation. Excellent.
Sure,
Oh.
fantastic.
Any other questions? We've got about a minute left.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
We're about
Yes,
almost halfway through the book.
I have pricked carotenoids for various funny little things that came on my skin. I don't know if carotenoids pricked will help with skin tags as well. I just mentioned it. Carotenoids have done wonderful things. Okay,
Yes.
I can't go into that, even skin cancer, but we must actually speak about that one day. I've got like a few tests on the skin.
Yeah, once we're finished with this series, then we can look at other things that we can go on to, maybe do a couple of immune boosting seminars or PowerPoints, that sort of thing. I've got quite a few other tricks up my sleeve over here.
Awesome. Sure.
Look forward to it.
Oh, yeah.
1 minute.
I think it would also be nice, Sean, if we could just maybe leave 5 to 10 minutes on your session, because stories are very important. They sell the product. I'd like to listen to Linda's testimonies, and maybe that would also be an idea. It might make your session, your time a little longer, say instead of 3 weeks or whatever, 10 weeks, but that's fine. Let's hear the stories behind what you're saying.